Yeah, another question I have is, why does Allah, like allow evil, suffering, and stuff like that to happen?
Okay, good. So he shouldn't, right?
I mean,
Okay, good. So if there was no evil, right, and
yeah.
everything was fine, what are we talking about? Either we have all angels,
Yes.
nobody does anything wrong,
Okay.
right? And that defeats the purpose which we already talked about, that how having free will and still control, that shows you that this is God is complete and not a weak God and not a deficient God, right? Or it will be in paradise. So in paradise there is no evil, right? So this is the place, what you're describing is what will happen in paradise. But not everybody deserves to go to paradise. You have to earn by the mercy of God to be from the people of paradise, right? Now from a perspective of this world, when there is suffering, look, why does the suffering come in place? It comes in place because someone chooses to exercise their free will against the command of Allah, right? But from the justice and mercy of God is nobody will be oppressed, right? So what will happen is, so let's say if some calamity or some sort of relative short-term evil happens, either by the earning of men directly, such as some countries bombing some other countries, or indirect interaction from men. So indirect interaction would be like, an earthquake, or a thunderstorm, or a hurricane, or stuff like, or a flood, right? So those are indirect because we don't see a direct connection with men. But from what Allah has told us is that that also happens because of the corruption and the sins that human beings are doing. So when that happens, it is a chance for us to realize that, look, Allah can seize us even with all this technology and all these advancements. So for us to rectify our behaviors from one angle, okay? From another angle, it gives a chance for other people to show their human nature of empathy and sympathy and sacrifice, to then let go of some of their wealth, some of their time, to help those who are in need. So that's another opportunity and manifestation for people to show the good that they have or the love of God that they claim. Okay? Now from a third angle, the people who actually suffer, right, what happen, any suffering that happens in this world, sickness, death, whatever, it actually expiates our shortcomings and it gets us closer to Allah, closer to the Creator. So anybody who is basically killed or have some sort of suffering during those events or calamities will have whatever he or she intended, right? So for example, if that was a child, right, and he got killed, or he got somehow he died during that event or that incident, that's fine, because at the end of the day everyone has to suffer death, right? So imagine a child at 5 years who suffered death. Yeah, it is painful, but if you look at it from a bigger picture, and now he is chilling in paradise, he didn't have to work, he didn't have to labor, he didn't have to pay taxes, he didn't have to suffer. I mean, if you think about it, people who are in old age, right, 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus, a lot of times they are also suffering because their body is becoming weaker. So they also have their share of suffering. So in that case, someone can argue that, look, if you really take it from a wider angle and not be very narrow-sighted and narrow-minded, the guy a boy who left the world at 5 and ended up in paradise, maybe had an easier time than someone who lived, toiled, worked hard, suffered emotionally and physically, then became older and then suffered physically and then made it to paradise, or maybe not even made it to paradise, right? So if you have your wider perspective, the way you measure things definitely change.